Your next career move could be the one you never imagined. Web3 nomads, everywhere jobs for anywhere people.
Right, I think that's working. So we said we were going to do some beginner content and really strip it back. I know some of the research reports coming out that we usually publish can be a little bit more project oriented, but I think whilst the rest of the regular retail participants and new participants are still licking their wounds or not coming back to the space for a while yet until the news starts reporting on 1000x dog coins going mental. There's people in this space currently tend to know what they're doing, but we're just going to get a whole host of content ready for when new market participants come, and then hopefully we are the one-stop shop for if people want to start exploring the whole DeFi space. So basically, what we're going to do in this episode, there's going to be just a basic tutorial of MetaMask, how to set it up, what it all means, the little tricks and tips that we've learned over the past couple of years of using it. And yeah, so that's about it. This will be one part of a series, and it's completely free. So if anyone asks you for money to get access to it, it's not us. But in return for it being all completely free, you could just kind of subscribe to the channel. That's more than enough for us. So yeah, so as I said, what we'll do, got Mike on as well, and basically what we're going to do is we're both going to act as idiots in the room. So as we're going through stuff, the best way we thought about doing it is trying to bring up some kind of topical questions that people might ask as you're going through a tutorial and things like that. So basically, yeah, we can get into it. I don't think I've missed anything there, have I, Mike?
Not really. I think we're good to go from where we're at. Like I say, it'll be a series, so if you think there's something not covered in this video, then we're sure to cover it in something else in another part of this. So I think we're all good, mate.
Okay, right. So you've got let's just set the scene a little bit. So you've been using the Binances of the world. Hopefully, you haven't been using FTX because that's gone RIP. You might use another centralized exchange, Coinbase. What are the other couple of tiers like KuCoin, all that good stuff. So what you'd be typically exposed to is buying and selling tokens, coins on centralized exchange. Can't necessarily do much. I know some do offer staking services and things like that, but they're also, you've got to be wary that you're staking through them and they're taking commission on the back of that. So hopefully by the end of the series, you'll know how to do everything yourself. You don't have to rely on centralized custodians. You don't have to rely on kind of wolves in sheep's clothing that are in the industry. And hopefully we don't have as many people getting scolded by centralized actors getting, fallen from grace effectively, like we've seen with FTX and Alameda and things like that. So the exit and the entrance to the whole DeFi and on-chain landscape, and by on-chain, all that means is any applications. That might be a DEX like Uniswap, might be lending and borrowing like Aave, could be trading leverage on chain with GMX and things like that. All these things happen without a need for a central kind of trusted authority, and that's the beauty of on-chain. That's why we've seen a lot of money flow into the on-chain space and into the DeFi space. I'll probably use those two terms under the same kind of understanding of the word. So DeFi, centralized finance, just a place where on-chain applications can provide you with trading, lending and borrowing, leverage, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, which we can get into in later in the series. But first and foremost, you need to know how to have a self-custody wallet. And by self-custody wallet, that means you effectively own your keys, your public key and your private key. Never, ever, 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 ever give your private key to anyone. This is how a lot of phishing scams happen, and all that effectively does would effectively you be handing over the keys. So someone could open a MetaMask account, say they're going to import the key, and then they get access to all your tokens and coins to do with as they please effectively. There's a lot of phishing scams, and we're going to cover like the most obvious one. And by phishing scams, it's people sending out fake links to get you to click on them, usually prompt you to put your private key in because they say your wallet's been compromised. If anyone ever asks you to put in your private key, just don't do it.
Yeah,
just don't do it. So MetaMask is the gateway. Effectively, it's the most popular crypto wallet, Web3 wallet, DeFi wallet, whatever you want to call it. It can be a little, the UI and the UX on it can be a little bit, it's not Binance, it's not Coinbase, put it that way. But for now, that's what everyone uses. And not to knock it, it's a great product. Been using it for years now. But we'll try and dispel some of the kind of issues that people have with it, because it does work for all intents and purposes. It's a great wallet. It's just the UI and UX is a little bit clunky at times. So first and foremost, the same thing was what you should do with all of these things. You should try and find the most trusted source of wherever you're going to download stuff from. MetaMask in particular, if anyone's ever tweeted the words MetaMask or MetaMask support or wallet help, you will be flooded with a series of bots that pretend to be MetaMask employees and send out phishing links and things like that. So always try and trust and verify where you're getting your direct links from, because if you're downloading something and you're downloading from a wrong link and you're putting assets and tokens and coins under there, then obviously you need to be very careful. So basically what I'd do is, as I'd use Twitter, I'd try and find, basically MetaMask, search for that. Hopefully it brings up the top 100 people. So yeah, world's leading Web3 wallet support. So MetaMask.io is looking for. You can also find it in the Chrome store or the Brave store or whatever you use, whatever browser you use. But effectively, if you're using Chrome, so you do it. So if you click through to the Chrome web store and then search for MetaMask in there, that's completely easy. That's only going to give you a few options effectively. So you should go to Chrome store, search for it. Just let that load. Cut this a little bit out. Yeah. So once it loads, you're going to be given 3 options. Obviously, it's the top one. Just want to check it's verified, created by the owner. Yeah, that's fine. So MetaMask, and then I've already downloaded it to my browser, so you effectively have the button to add here. So once you've done that, if you go to the little jigsaw piece puzzle where all your plugins are, just tend to pin it because you're going to use it an awful lot. Then open it. So you're going to be met with this screen. And it says connecting to Ethereum and decentralized web. We're happy to see you. And then you just hit get started. So help us improve MetaMask. Yeah, just basic kind of do's and don'ts. Never collect keys, addresses, transaction balances, hashes, or any personal information. Never collect your full IP address. Never sell your data for profit ever. Yeah, I don't know how much that last one is, or the last one is true, but so we agree.
It's a bit questionable. However, again, I guess with security and everything like that, you can have several setups along with your browser, which is again, you've got Chrome, you've got Firefox, you've got Brave browser, which is probably the more secure. And what you've got to remember here is you're dealing with a hot wallet. So it's slightly different to like cold storage, which I'm sure we'll cover later on. So this is always connected to the internet. So you've got to be precautious in terms of your security steps that you take. Even with the phishing scams, you've still got malware, stuff like that. So you have to be careful. Your security setup, probably have a VPN on. In most cases, I know I do. I'm sure you do, Grant. And
Yep.
To be honest, I always keep my antivirus and malware protection up to date as well, just to be on the safe side, really. Just as simple steps, really, to take.
Yeah, you can't take this stuff any more serious. Like if you're going to be your own bank, if you want to try and get on chain and things like that, it comes with the consequences and the OPSEC that is required to actually fulfill that be your own bank kind of tagline effectively. So this step here is something that I know for a fact happens because I did it myself in the early days. It's like, right, when we click create wallet and set up a new wallet, it's going to give you a secret recovery phrase that you need to write down. I'd recommend getting 3 separate pieces of paper, writing it all down, separately on 3 separate pieces of paper and storing them in 3 separate locations, or give one to a very, very trusted family member or someone that you really, really, really trust as a friend. I know where Mike's is, so
Just in case.
whenever Mike goes on holiday or something like that, he says, "Right, the recovery phrase is in, blah blah blah." So, but these literally are your lifeline. If your laptop ever dies suddenly, or for some reason you restart your laptop or computer or whatever, and MetaMask's not on there, you need the secret recovery phrase. So I can't reiterate enough how important it is to, even once a month, once a quarter, just check. You know where everything is. If anything was to happen, could you get into your accounts? Do you know where your secret recovery phrase is and things like that? It's just basic housekeeping that you will get into the habit of. But what tends to happen is people don't get good kind of OPSEC hygiene habits until something really serious happens, and then they're all scrambling around and they learn the hard way. So the next point here is like super important. So if you take anything from this, just kind of take what I've just said and what we're about to say. Obviously, it gives you the option as well. So again, if one of those things has happened, or you've got a new laptop and you want to migrate, or even better yet, if you use a separate device or separate console or separate whatever to only do your trading on, and then your day-to-day stuff's on a separate laptop, that's probably best. Or even using separate browsers. Like if you're a Chrome user, maybe install it on Firefox or Brave or something like that, just to kind of keep it separate, because you never know what you kind of click on when you're roaming around, particularly with dodgy links and things like that. So you can just import your recovery phrase and that would bring up your past wallet. But again, what we're going to do with the MetaMask tutorial is just go through and create a wallet. Is there anything I've missed there, Mike, before I go on to create the wallet?
I don't think so. Again, if you're doing this on mobile, you can do it on Apple, your Apple iPhone or whatever. It is very similar, the UI UX. It's not exactly the same, but again, you're probably better day to day using a laptop or a Mac if you have one. I think over using it on your mobile, just for, again, it's probably the UI aspects that are a bit more simple on your computer compared to what they are on mobile. If you're a bit more seasoned and you're getting used to it, then you do have that option to put it on your mobile. But I'd probably just stick with browser when I was just getting started, anyways.
Yeah, you can't lose your laptop on a night out unless you've had a really heavy night as well. So, so right, once we create wallet, it's going to ask us to generate a password. So
I guess this is where it's key as well. I think people usually or tend to use passwords that are stored with or familiar to themselves, and they have that password stored somewhere else, or it's another centralized application. I know it's your Facebook password, it's your Twitter password. It's I know I keep my MetaMask passwords like completely unique and complicated as hell. Is just as a precautionary tale, really. If you've obviously seen in the news, there's been hacks and data leaks, and passwords are sat there on the dark web, ready to be sold. So again, it's just another step in terms of your OPSEC about keeping safe when you're setting a password. I know Grant's probably set a password here, which is pretty simple just for this demonstration, but in practice, you should be making that completely unique in my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just not to get things confused, so this isn't your secret recovery password. This is just to effectively log in day to day on the app. If you restart your laptop or computer, or you'll just boot it up for the day, you will be asked for a prompt for your password. You can reset it if you do have your secret recovery password. That's fine, but again, just make sure you're having kind of good security hygiene with all this kind of stuff as well. So just put in your password for this. It will give you a full tutorial on this. I'd recommend watching this. I'm not going to watch it because I don't want to sit and watch a video on top of a video. That's a bit stupid. So basically on the right hand side, fills you in. what is your secret recovery phrase? Your secret recovery phrase is a 12-word phrase that is the master key to your wallet and your funds. How do I save my recovery phrase? So it says save it in a password manager, store in a bank vault, store in a safety deposit box, write down and store in multiple secret places. Should I share my secret recovery phrase? Never ever share your secret recovery phrase, not even with MetaMask. So to reiterate, never ever share your secret recovery phrase, never, not even with MetaMask. If someone asks you for this recovery phrase, they're likely trying to scam you and steal your wallet funds. So as we go through, this is a fresh wallet, so don't mind showing this. So yeah, so again, just more kind of disclaimers. Don't share this, click it to reveal secret words. So that's going to bring up your secret recovery phrase. So it's 12 words. You need to now go and write those down on 3 separate pieces of paper or password manager, but I don't really like that because it's just another route of failure in my opinion. I think just manually doing it is the best way to do it. Copy it down, copy it down, copy it down. Don't save it anywhere online. That's just stupid. If you are like even scared about keeping it on a piece of paper, then if you have the ability to remember one word or even 2 words, the first and the last word or something like that, even just to kind of add that additional layer of security, like say for this example, if I can remember the first word of this just in my brain at all times, or write this first word down and put it completely separate to the rest of the string of words, that's just an additional layer as well. So you can definitely do that. But yeah, all good. So now it's going to ask you to effectively repeat back what that was. So
the only other thing we haven't mentioned, I guess, is you can actually get sort of like bomb-proof, fireproof storage for your recovery phrase. So that's if you don't want to keep it on a piece of paper because you think that'll get lost or whatever, there's the option to invest in something like that. Again, you've got to see it as like analogous to sort of your bank account. You take steps to protect them funds in your bank account. Or I know that's a different story altogether in terms of the bank does have control of that, but you wouldn't necessarily be lax with them funds in your bank account that you've saved all your life for, and you've got to take the exact same steps here, I think, especially if you are investing and then numbers do become lucrative. You want to make sure that's safe. We probably will be talking about hard wallets in the future and cold storage again. So this is only the first step, really, in terms of getting online with DeFi. Yeah, I think that's about it for now for me.
Yeah. So basically, you're going to be met with a super simple interface. So from kind of top to bottom, you've got just to return to the home screen. Your account. So account 1, if you copy that to your clipboard, that's going to give you your full public wallet. So this is something you can share, you can send out. This is how you receive assets. So basically, this is not the private key. This is the public key. Anyone can have this. You can plug it into a wallet tracker, so it kind of tracks your full portfolio and stuff like that. So never share the one with words in it. You can share the one that starts with 0x. So if you see people online on crypto Twitter and things with 0x blah blah blah, 0x blah blah blah, this is kind of where that whole thing spans from effectively. So it will default to Ethereum. So with Ethereum, it says we've got 0 ETH in our wallet. You're going to need ETH to pay for any and all transactions on Ethereum. There are a few ways to get around that, which we'll get into in like a later video. But so this is your first account that you've set up. Again, you can copy that if you need to receive funds. You can buy. So this is quite interesting. So you can buy on Coinbase Pay. You can buy directly with Transact, or you can buy with MoonPay. These are all feasible options. MetaMask have definitely increased the amount of
onboarding,
kind of on ramps and onboarding. Yeah, and effectively, if you have MoonPay, you could effectively use Google or Apple Pay or Samsung Pay as well, which is quite interesting. So it's a really easy way to kind of onboard. We will get into in the next episode how to actually get funds over, but for now we'll just show the basic UI UX. So you can onboard some ETH that way, or you can send it from a centralized exchange to your address, which is this one here, copy, and receive funds to this address. If you're going to go and do that without watching the second video, always just send a small test amount first. Just always, if you're ever unsure, test amounts, test transactions, get into the habit of doing it. Something that you couldn't care less if it fell off the face of the earth. So you can send. So if you've got another address or you want to send funds back to your centralized exchange, Coinbase, Binance, whatever, you'd effectively go onto your wallet on those exchanges and click deposit. It's going to give you a choice of which network. So obviously we're on Ethereum currently, and then you'd copy the address given there, paste it in here, and then send assets that way. But we're going to go into that in an awful lot more detail in the next kind of series. Just on that as well, you can actually click this. It's going to give you a QR code. So if you want to just do that with just for ease or just to double check that you're actually pasting the right address in. Again, if you're unsure, test transactions, and you can check that. They do have an inbuilt swap function that you can actually swap through. It routes it through a couple of different exchanges. I never really use this. I know some people do. I suppose you can look at it two ways. One, if you're doing it natively in the app, it's probably better for security purposes if you're unsure about a specific token and things like that. Obviously, there's always risks with what you're buying, but the other aspect of it is you're gonna get a worse price generally. You're gonna like eat a little bit of like a worse price. So if you were swapping into another asset, you could probably get it at a better price on, say, Uniswap or Matcha, for example, which again we'll get into in a later episode. But so you've got your buy, send, swap. You can receive to this address at the top. That's pretty simple. Activity, anything you do from this account one, which you can change. I'll show you how to do that in a sec. It's gonna just track it all here for you. Pretty simple. So again, if you go to the top right where you'll see the circle icon, you can create another account. That's not gonna ask you for, see, we could just have an account 2 saying test 2. That's going to create you a separate address. So this one starts 0x314. The original account which created was 0xb9b. So you can create an account. You can import an account. You can connect your hardware wallet, which we'll get into later, or you can lock it. But if you're locking it, remember you need your little password that you created yourself to get back in, not your secret phrase or anything like that. Where it says Ethereum mainnet at the top, obviously with MetaMask, you can toggle between all networks: Ethereum, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Optimism, anything that is EVM compatible, which is basically running on Ethereum virtual machine, which again, get into a later date. You don't need to concern yourselves too much with that now. But yeah, I think that's kind of high level overview. Once you've kind of got your head around that, 99 times out of 100, you're probably just going to be using the smaller interface, which is basically the same thing, but micro on just through the plugin here. And apart from that, I think that's pretty much it before we get onto the next episode, I think. Anything missing?
No, absolutely. I agree. I think that's about everything at the moment for this episode. Or whatever, this seminar. Like I say, we'll be getting on to more of the devil in the detail in the next few editions of this, really.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, keep an eye out. This series, seminar, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be as simple as physically possible. If there's anything we've missed, you can leave it in the comments. We'll definitely respond to every single one, or you can jump in Discord, which will be in the description, and tag me, tag Mike, tag Jedi, tag Dan. Again, just be careful if you get any responses from people asking for a seed phrase or secret phrase. Run a mile, block them. None of us will ever ask for any of that stuff. Yeah, it will not be us. But yeah, again, any feedback you need or would like to give, or want to see specific episodes on different areas of this space, let us know. Happy to cover them. As I say, we're trying to make this space as
accessible.
scary, I suppose is the right word, accessible, less scary, and as easy for people to navigate as much as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, this is all for free. So if you can, just from your end, your payment can just be hitting the subscribe button. That's all we want. But yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.